Good morning everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now recently I made a video on the luckiest players in RuneScape. I had a look at a ton of really rare drops and we put in order who was actually the luckiest person. So today I wanted to actually do the opposite of that. Who is the unluckiest person in RuneScape? And I'm talking about dry streaks. So for example, who is unluckier, Mr. Mammal or Mr. Ironbar? I'm going to be calculating the odds of going dry that long, and there is a pretty simple calculation that will allow us to compare different numbers and different situations. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone who made a submission. Now today's video is going to feature a large amount of content creators, and that is because the dry streak is well documented. And finally here, I'm not going to be taking into account the difficulty of the monster. For example, the dry streak on the Rune Crossbow that Settled went through is a lot worse than the actual numbers are going to say, just because of how long it takes to find and catch lucky implings. But today I'm just going to be looking at numbers. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get started. Now coming up first here at number 15 is the Rune Crossbow grind from Swampletics. Now this guy had to collect 417 lucky implings before he got his Rune Crossbow. Now with that information, how do we actually calculate how dry he went? Well, there's actually a pretty simple calculation. Now first up here we need to get the drop rate, and from Settle's video he calculated it at around 1 out of 162. Now what we are going to be doing is calculating the percent chance of you getting the drop after that many kills. Now the percentage chance that Swampletics would have gotten the Rune Crossbow after 417 kills is about 92%. Now the way you get this number is with the following formula: 1 minus the chance of you not getting the drop divided by the chance of you getting the drop to the power of your kill count, and then you multiply that by 100. So in this case it's going to be 1 minus, in brackets, 161 divided by 162 to the power of 417, and when we multiply that by 100 we get a percentage of 92.4. So definitely pretty unlucky, but not unheard of. More impressive though, just because of how long it takes to catch the implings. Now coming in at number 14 is an email submission of a player who has gone very dry getting a Basilisk Head. Now the chance of getting a Basilisk Head from a regular Basilisk is 1 out of 2k, and the reason people want this item is for completionist reasons. You can mount it in a skill hall, but first you have to stuff it from the taxidermist. Didn't know we even had one of those. Now this player still doesn't have it, and they have killed 5,590 Basilisk Heads, which means the chance of them having the drop by now is about 93.9%, so hopefully they get it pretty soon. Now next up here we have a Reddit user by the name of Hyaldur, who is on a pretty long dry streak now of getting the Dragon Pickaxe from a Chaos Elemental. They've killed the Chaos Elemental 735 times, and the drop rate is around 1 out of 256. I think this player should probably go and try to kill some of the other wilderness bosses. I'm not sure why you're torturing yourself that much, but the chance of having the drop by now after 735 kills is around 94.36%, which is pretty unlucky, especially considering you have to kill Chaos Elemental, which is like the worst boss in the entire game. Okay, so now we're getting into the really small numbers, and keep in mind, the closer we get to 100%, it exponentially gets worse. Now I want to clarify that I don't know that much about statistics. I'm sure there is a better way to do this, but this is by far the simplest and easiest comparison. Okay, so next up here we have another email submission of a player that has now gone 4,000 KC dry at both the Hydra Pet and the Hydra Claw. Now the drop rate for the Hydra Pet is only 1 out of 3,000, but the drop rate for the Hydra Claw is 1 out of 1,000, which means the chance of the player having the drop is about 98.2%. So that is really unlucky, and the fact that they don't have the pet either just makes this way worse. Now probably one of the worst dry streaks to have is while pet hunting, and the reason for that is just because of how long it can drag on for. It can drag on for months, years in some circumstances. Okay, so next up here we have a person who was pet hunting the Thermi Pet. Now the Thermi Pet has a drop rate of 1 out of 3,000, which means 98.21% of the time this player would have gotten the drop by now, which is incredibly unlucky. Now Mod Lottie actually has posted the dry streaks for pets, and I'm going to go over 1 or 2 of them, but the information is a bit out of date at this point, so we're going to be pulling from more places. Okay, so next up here we have a streamer by the name of Aloha who went incredibly dry at the Dragon Warhammer. And now this is a pretty common place to go dry at because the Dragon Warhammer is a really important item, but it has a really rare drop rate from Lizardman Shaman of 1 out of 5,000. Now, Aloha killed 21,038 Lizardman Shaman before getting their drop, which means 98.5% of the time they would have gotten the drop by now, which is just so incredibly unlucky, but definitely respect for sticking with it and getting it eventually. Alright, next up here we have a mobile player who has gone very dry at barrows. I was really trying to find who has the longest dry streak at barrows, but there weren't that many images out there. Luckily, this person sent one to me. There are actually 73 chests dry so far of any item. Now, based on the drop rates released by Mod Kieran a few years ago, the drop rate of getting any barrows piece is about 1 in 17, and since they haven't gotten a single one, that means the chance that they should have gotten one by now is about 98.8%, so you've gotten incredibly unlucky, and I really hope you get something good soon. Now, the Chaos Elemental pet has one good thing going for it, and that is that the drop rate for the pet is much more common than the average. So for pet hunters, it's supposed to be a pretty easy grind relative to some of the other pets. Unfortunately, not in this case though. This player has 1,392 Chaos Elemental kills and no pet. They do have 7 Dragon Pickaxes though, so that's not bad. Now the drop rate for the Chaos Elemental pet is 1 in 300, which means the chance that they should have the pet by now is 99.04%, which is so unlucky and the first submission to break the 99% threshold, and it's only going to get worse from here. Now, next up here we have the man himself, settled once again on his main Ultimate Ironman account, and I'm sure a lot of you remember how dry he went at a Dragon Warhammer. This guy killed over 24,000 Lizardman Shaman for a 1 out of 5,000 drop rate at the Dragon Warhammer, which means the chance that he should have gotten it by 24,000 kills is 99.17%, which is so incredibly unlucky, and I really hope I never have to experience anything like that. Especially when it's for something so integral as a Dragon Warhammer. It can kind of make you feel stuck there for a long time, but hopefully in the end it was all worth it. Okay, next up here we have a very interesting collection log here of a user who went really dry at Zora. However, to break that dry streak, they actually got 2 items at once. So this player went 618 kills dry at Zora and then managed to break it by getting a Magic Fang and a Tanzanite Fang in a single drop. Now, it's extremely lucky to get 2 drops at once, but it's extremely unlucky to go 618 kills dry, so I'm not really sure where this guy's luck stands. But the chance of going 618 kills dry at Zora is about 99.21%, because the drop rate of any Zora unique is about 1 in 128, but they did get 2, so you know what, I think it kind of counteracts it a bit. Now, just breaking the top 5 is Mr. Ironbar's grind for Bryophyta's Essence. Now, Mr. Ironbar is in the count of Rice Cup, and he went 626 kills dry at the Bryophyta's Essence, which is a drop rate of 1 out of 118, but this is made way worse by the fact that he had to kill thousands upon thousands of Moss Giants just to get a chance of killing Bryophyta. So the actual chance that he should have had the drop at 626 kill count is 99.51%, which is so incredibly unlucky, but on top of that, the amount of extra time going into killing the Moss Giants for the Moss Giant keys really would put this higher up on the list, but we're going right based on numbers. Now I decided I would pull one statistic from the Boss Pet Dry Streak posted by Mod Lottie about 2 years ago, and I think the worst one on the list posted then was actually the Dry Streak at Zora. Now one player had gone 24,594 kills dry at the Zora pet, and the pet has a drop rate of 1 out of 4,000. Now we don't know who this player is, but we know that the number is accurate. Now who knows if they have the pet by now, but the chance that they should have gotten it at around 24,000 kill count is 99.78%, which kind of hurts my soul a little bit. Alright, so now we're on to the top 3, and it's getting pretty dire at this point. Please send good wishes and thoughts to all of these players. Now the third most unlucky player here is a Twitch streamer by the name of Neil4D, and I'm convinced that he is the most dry at the Vorkath pet. Now the Vorkath drops the pet at a rate of 1 out of 3,000, and this poor soul has 18,330 kills, no pet. Over 250 Vorkath heads, oh my god. Now the chance that this player would have gotten the Vorkath pet by now is 99.78%, and unfortunately he still doesn't have it and is still no closer to getting it than when he started. Now coming in at number 2 is actually Mr. Mammal's Primordial Boot grind, and I remember this at the time, but I don't think I quite understood how dry he actually was. Mr. Mammal was actually around 8 times over the drop rate for the Primordial, which actually makes him one of the most unlucky people in the entire game. The Primordials have a drop rate of around 1 out of 512, and Mr. Mammal got his Primordial finally at kill count 3,905, which means the chance he should have gotten it after nearly 4,000 kills is 99.95%. And I believe in fractional terms, after killing nearly 4,000 Cerberus, that is a 1 in 2k chance of happening. So imagine there was no chance of getting a Cerberus drop except for at the very end, you kill 4,000 Cerberus over the course of months, and you only have a 1 in 2,000 chance of not getting it, and you just managed to hit it. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not quite sure if that's how stats work, because I'm a college dropout bum who makes RuneScape videos for a living. And finally here, coming in at number 1 is a player by the name of Wizard, who has by far gone on the longest dry streak for Ranger boots. Now this player was so desperate to get the Ranger boots, they started posting a fact on Reddit about medium clues every 20 clues until they got it. And they eventually got it after 2,550 medium clue caskets, which makes this person the unluckiest I could find. Now the average drop rate of Ranger boots varies a bit based on how many rolls you get, but based on 4 rolls as an average, that means the drop rate is 1 out of 284, and this player was approaching 10 times the drop rate for that, which is so unlucky. The chance of this player getting Ranger boots after that many clues is 99.98%, which is almost incomprehensible how rare that is. I think I would have given up long ago, so props to this person for sticking with it. After doing 2,500 mediums, finally getting it must have felt really good. And maybe you can find some happiness in realizing that you are actually the most unlucky player, so at least you're winning at something. Anyway guys, that is it for today's video. Those are the unluckiest players in RuneScape. If I missed anything, I apologize. There are a lot of unlucky players out there. If you think I missed anything, please leave a comment down below, and maybe I'll make a follow-up video. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.